Well, it's been a long time since I recorded one of these, but I was working out the other day and, well, I just couldn't think of a better reason to talk than catching myself undergoing some good old-fashioned blame shifting. It's something we all do. People might not even understand what I mean by blame shifting, but I think this example might hit it home for some people. My friend comes into the gym. This particular friend decided to do me a favor and spoil me with some really yummy treats from a local bakery. A delicious brownie and a package of caramel Afghans that were just amazing. And I notoriously don't have a lot of self-control, especially when it comes to cookies. So, of course, in the 5 days that's passed since this person gave me said gift, copious amounts of sugar, I ate them all. I did manage to share some of my Afghans, but yeah, I just ate them all in a couple of days. Just plowed through them. And yeah, there was some associated food guilt and beating myself up, as I do. So when my friend came into the gym one morning and was like, "Oh, how was the brownie? How was the Afghans?" I said, "They're gone." And he goes, "Well, did you share them? Did you even share them with anybody?" And I was like, "Of course I did." And I could feel myself getting angry. And he's like, "Well, why didn't you make them last?" And I said, I tried and I ate them all. And I'm getting mad. I'm getting more and more worked up. And he's like, "Well, gosh, you can just practice self-control." And I was like, "You shouldn't have got him for me." I was getting so mad. "I don't have any self-control." I'm screaming. And he's like, "Well, just practice some self-control." And I'm getting so angry and so worked up, and we're going back and forth. And I'm like, "You just can't buy me shit like that." And oh. He walks away. I continue my torrent of exercise on the elliptical machine. And I reflect. I reflect on that anger because that's what I do. Practice emotional anger or emotional intelligence. See, anger's in all of us. I try to be emotionally intelligent. I try to build my EQ and understand. I'm like, "Oh, what just happened? Fuck, I just got angry. He was just trying to do something nice and get me something nice." And I got pissed at him. Pissed him off. Walk away. I'm pissed. He's pissed. Everybody's pissed. And it doesn't take me long to figure out what just happened was classic blame shifting. Not having self-control when it comes to having cookies around my house is not my friend's issue. It is my issue. He did something nice and got me a treat. I'm at the gym every day for hours. He thought that these particular treats were lovely and delicious and wanted to give me some, to be nice, to give me something nice. And instead, I get pissed at him because I can't have cookies in my pantry. And I even fucking tried to freeze them to try to get myself not to eat them. Or at least slow down before I do mow into them. Nah. 3 cookies in rapid succession. I ate them frozen. Oh, I ate them completely frozen. They almost broke my fucking teeth. This is my issue. This is not his issue. And I really had no right. I was mad at myself. I wasn't mad at him. I'm so grateful to have a friend who thinks of me and gets me a nice treat every once in a while. I was pissed at myself, but projecting that anger. Instead of blaming my lack of self-control, I blamed him for getting me the treats to begin with. Ooh, that is some pretty classic blame shifting right there. You know, in Adam Anger, the podcast about Adam Anger, the angry snake, I spoke of anger that was born of boundary treading. You know, like if I have a belief or value and someone just fucking railroads it, craps all over it, I'm going to get angry. And that's a good reason to get angry. It tells you where your boundaries are. It tells you what you're willing to take from other people. But here's another all too common source of anger. And it's one every human hates facing. And that is hearing the truth we would rather not hear. I know I should just practice self-control. But it didn't. And in the moment, I knew, I was like, I can do this, I can beat this, I can just have one cookie. But at some point, halfway through that cookie, something in me just snapped, and I was like, nah, I'm gonna eat them all. I don't know whether, look, it could be a million podcasts of me understanding what that is that snaps and say, nah, I'm just gonna eat them all. Whether it's self-torture, just wanting to get rid of them. That's a very common thing that I feel. I'm just gonna eat them all, that way they're gone. Like I'm some kind of cookie dumpster. But so often when we catch ourselves blame shifting and saying, I don't want to be mad at myself, it's easier to be mad at you and make you the problem. It's almost always because we're confronted with a truth that we don't want to know about ourselves. I have actually been struggling with my lack of self-control for quite a while. I used to have it. I had it so well. I had it too good. I had too much self-control. And I spend a lot of time reflecting now on the fact that perhaps whatever it is that makes that part of me snap, I'd be like, nah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna eat them all. Just to prove to myself I can, or just to prove that part of me that used to control too much wrong, and confront that like a rebel and an oppressor, both inside me, fighting, one rebelling against oppression. You know, if I'm honest, look, I know that my story, to anybody who knows me at all, they would think, what the fuck are you on about, Summer? You eat healthy, like stupidly healthy. You exercise for hours every day. What's the fucking issue? Eat 3 cookies. It's not going to make any difference. But that's because they're not privy to everything that I have been in the past. In my not so distant past, I transitioned from someone who was morbidly obese to someone who was anorexic. At some point, the self-control button got stuck on hyperdrive. I became addicted to that sense of power and control that I felt when I looked at a plate of food and said, I don't need it. I don't fucking need it. And as I did that, And I lost more and more and more weight. And felt better and more powerful and prettier, and that addiction just fed itself. I had so much self-control. I cannot describe to people the level of self-control it takes to literally starve yourself. And at some point, you eat so little that your brain doesn't have the sugar it needs to actually make good decisions. And I self-controlled right into a state of it was like I was a zombie. And it's like now I blame that whatever part of me that controlled myself to that extent, to that terrifying and detrimental extent. It's almost like that's what I'm rebelling against now. When I'm like, fuck it, 3 cookies. Fuck it, bottle of wine. Bam, done. Calories I never would have ever let myself eat for years. And it's almost like I'm just trying to prove myself wrong. That it's okay. But it's balance, right? Because no, I don't feel overly great about myself when I eat 3 cookies. It's not even weight gain. It's the fact that I feel like crap. I'm weighed down with sugar. I don't want my normal meal now. It's just not going to serve me. It's like what I talk about in parental permission. It's like that mother that lets their kid get wasted for the first time, and then laughs as they vomit into a toilet. It's like sometimes you just got to let the kid go off the rails so they can learn where their boundary is. Oh, there's boundaries again. That's interesting. So yeah, what I'm thinking about all this, right? And I'm thinking, God, what a double-edged sword this is. It's a double-edged sword of guilt. It's just guilt on both sides. I feel guilty for eating the cookie because I can get fat again, like my obese days and the days that I didn't have good self-control and I just eat and eat and eat and eat. Nothing was ever enough. Never mind that I was trying to fill an emotional void in myself with food. And guess what? That doesn't work. You just get fat. Never mind. Side story that. So I feel guilty. I'm feeding myself the kind of food that I used to eat that I attribute with being obese, and that's part of my life. So I feel guilty there because I don't want to undo all the work that I've done. But I also feel guilty that I'm slipping back into that anorexic mindset again. It's like, who do I trust? Fuck, they're both inside of me. This is the rabbit hole. This is it. Something so simple as noticing myself blame shifting can make me realize, like, I'm just literally pinned between 2 sensations of guilt. Either I'm going to get fat or I'm going to starve myself again. And what my life focuses on now and what I pour all of my energy into and what the rabbit hole I hope can be all about is talking about the balance. And how do we seek balance? How do we find balance? Balance is the goal. What does healthy self-control look like? Sometimes, I'm not going to say I don't know. I do know. Like, if I want a little extra ice cream or something like that, I'll eat it and I won't think too much about it because, yeah, I do work out like a neurotic hamster. Why? Because I love it. I feel great when I work out. But I need to make sure I eat enough so I don't slip back into that anorexic mindset. But at the same time, when I feel like I do need a little extra, I need to allow for that. I don't go off the rails, and I don't go off the rails all the time. I don't buy cookies because I know I have a hard time saying no to them. What's balance? Balance is the fact that I'm neither gaining nor losing weight. Is that not balance? Is it not that simple? When I was obese, I maxed out at around 120 kg, 240 pounds. My goal, it was 130 pounds. So, I don't know. I think it's 58 kg, which is exactly how much I weigh now. And here's the ironic part. Here's the truly, glaringly ironic fact. It's a fact. The entire time I was anorexic, I neither lost nor gained weight. It was a mindset disease. My weight fluctuates between 58 and 60 kg, unless I experience extreme stress, in which case I can dip down as low as 55. Usually if I've broken up with someone. Hasn't happened since I've been married. But if you ever see me walking around looking like a fucking skeleton, you won't have to ask me what's wrong. I'll probably be smoking a cigarette too. Anyway, balance. How will I know? How will I know I'm balancing? Well, I don't actually know. I think it's just knowing that everything will even out. Not tipping the scales too severely in one way or another. I know that eating 3 cookies in tandem will throw me off balance. But I also know, mostly from marathon training, that if I run for 3 hours, I get knocked a bit off balance. I have to eat a lot to recover from feeling the woozies of running for 3 hours. I think the important part is why. What I don't want is for my fear of weight gain to drive my decisions. I don't want a mindset based on fear and control to drive my emotions and actions. I want to eat because my body says, hey, let's have a cookie. And I can literally feel it glowing and just buzzing when I have it. Because you know that feeling when you've eaten exactly what you wanted to eat. And you don't have to worry too much about it because it'll... Look, unless you ate 1,000 extra calories every day for a week, it's probably not going to make any difference. Our bodies are extremely good at maintaining weight. All of that because I noticed myself getting pissed off at my friend. Because I didn't want to think about all this shit. Because thinking about all this shit brings up a lot of stuff from my past that I'd rather forget. But forgetting wouldn't help me balance. It wouldn't bring me closer to healing and understanding what knocked me off balance to begin with. I know what balance is now because I spent so many years out of balance in both extremes. So that's what it's about, people. I hope that was at least somewhat entertaining. And if you ever get pissed off at someone and want to blame them. Blame them. It's their fault. They shouldn't have done that for me. Because now I've got to deal with this bullshit. Take a deep breath. Look inside yourself. And ask if maybe there wasn't some truth that you didn't want to hear. Something maybe you didn't want to think about. Because that's where the work comes in. It's not easy. But as soon as you dig deep, good shit will happen.